Let's podcast back in the Eford Studios, Empire Properties, downtown Raleigh. ACC kickoff was fun, but we're not done with ACC kickoff, Joe. It's overtime for ACC kickoff.
Love it.
Day 1, 2, 3, and overtime. So we got a bunch of conversations coming your way, but the breaking news, not, yes, Sebastian Aho signed a deal. It's awesome. But the breaking college football news that happened while we were at ACC kickoff was related to yet more conference realignment. This is 3 years in a row, man. 3 years. I forgot who we were talking to, so apologies. But we were curious as to why ACC kickoff was so late in July that it actually coincided with the start of NFL training camp and the Carolina Panthers. Hale said this? Okay. Yeah. And the thought was, oh, cool. We've been hitting these like weird news stories every time we do it. Maybe we push it a week back so it dies down. No, maybe the ACC's just jinxed, man. They have conference media day and conference realignment happens the same day with Colorado going to the Pac-12.
I was going to say, I actually think Colorado's the one who gave this away because they had to have it in writing by August 15th. Something tells me, just like one law firm handles all NCAA cases, Bond, Schoenig, and King. My guess is one law firm handled all of these grant of rights and all of these exit fee deals. That it probably is. You have to notify your league by August 15th. And then that's where the leak comes from. A law firm sees it and goes, hey, did you know UCLA has put in writing that they're on their way out of the Pac-12? Where could they be going? So I think it's just a function of the calendar and the legal system. Look, I mean, the Pac-12 losing USC and UCLA, your two biggest brands, that was never going to be good for them.
No.
The Big 12 found a way to get out of it, in part because I think where we're going to go with this conversation, it is in ESPN's best interest while they own the SEC, okay, and they own the ACC. It is in their best interest because they have to fill their inventory. Yeah. They have to. They can't just replay the Tennessee-Georgia game 85 times.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
All right.
And that's why there is value.
More, Joe.
That's why there is value to the American Athletic Conference and the games that are shown. That's why there is value. Not the same as Power 5, but for those Tuesday night Maction games. Because, people do watch, as we've seen with all of these cockamamie bowl games that outrate and outdraw a Duke Carolina basketball game. There is value, and for ESPN, they have to protect those brands. That's what you're seeing with the Big 12. The Pac-12, on the other hand, they don't have a deal with ESPN. So the ESPN is sitting here looking at that like, well, we had a deal with you, but that's been screwed by your two biggest commodities going to our competitor. And at this point, you might as well just call them ESPN and Fox leagues. There's no point in calling them by whatever names they are.
Did we not call that last year?
We did.
Okay.
But that's where people get confused when it comes to, well, where do you, Clemson in Florida, like Florida State, we're on Radio Row and we hear this guy talking about how he's down in Clemson, and I'm not making fun of him.
Sure.
It's talk radio. You got to fill it, man. I totally get it, man. I've been there, okay? But he's talking about how, like, Clemson can't stand for this. They got to break the grant of rights. They got to renegotiate. They have to add. And I'm sitting here going, no. The relationship, what? We talked about this with the UNC Mafia. John Swafford, Jim Delaney, the head of ESPN, okay? Deals get done by people. The people, and Bubba Cunningham said this to us last week, the value is in the network. The network isn't the ACC network. The network is ESPN. The deal, they have, as people, they have to go, the ACC, Jim Phillips, Bubba Cunningham, Florida State, Clemson, they have to go to the head of ESPN and say, we have value to you. It is in your best interest to keep us competitive. What is the best way for us to do that? Well, the best way for us to do that is for you to help us be financially competitive. Yes, you have us over the barrel right now, but it's still in your best interest for us and your inventory to be able to say to our recruits and to our players, we can win the national championship. You can come to Clemson and win the national championship. You can come to North Carolina and win the national championship. You have to be able to say that with a straight face.
Yeah.
You can't let Ohio State and all the Big Ten teams be like, well, we can recruit. You can't let all those SEC teams who already have a regional advantage go, well, you don't want to go to Clemson. You don't want to go to Florida State. You'll never play for the national championship. That's what's most important to them. Also, who owns the playoff as we speak?
ESPN.
ESPN.
Couple things. This is more about the Pac-12 not sticking the dagger in the Big 12 when they had the chance.
They did
10 years ago.
They absolutely did.
They had the chance to do it. And what do we know about college football? I looked him in the eye. We have an alliance. Well, every time that happens, well, somebody gets stabbed in the back. So the Pac-12 thought, no, we have honor amongst these thieves, and nobody would do it to us, right? Right.
Well, they were the ones who tried to get Texas and Oklahoma.
You were about 10 years removed. It's funny you mentioned that because in all the things that were going on, our friend, former UNC Chancellor Holden Thorpe, who was in the middle of all this stuff a decade ago, had tweeted to me, imagine 10 years ago in the last round thinking that the Big 12 was better than the Pac-12. Didn't see that coming. Because, yes, you know that meme that makes the rounds, like, call the ambulance, but not for me. Well, that was the Big 12. Brett Yormark was, oh, did you think we were? No, I'm coming for you. So the Pac-12 dicked around for way too long thinking they can get their own television network off the ground and not getting with a partner like ESPN, like they could have done 10 years ago.
We're going to get Apple. We're going to get Amazon.
But it goes beyond that. Remember, they were the ones who broke the code. You know, Larry Scott was going to be the one that we've got our own. We own everything. And I was listening to a conversation on my drive back from Charlotte last night between Ethan Strauss and Bomani Jones on the House of Strauss podcast. And Bomani made a very, very astute point, as he usually does, that all these people thought they could do it on their own. And then they realized, whoa, this is way too much work, right? And you see this time and time again. I'm going to do it. I'm going to control the distribution. And you come to find out, man, there's a lot of weird stuff that happens to do our own thing, and it gets really expensive. Maybe we should just go back to making the stuff, and then you buy it from me. He pointed out, I'm not in the shoe game, you are, but apparently Nike tried to go direct to consumer for the longest time. They're finding the distribution channels to be expensive, and now they're putting Nike back in stores.
This is what you told me when MLS went to Apple.
Yes.
And this is when I said to you, well, it's probably not the worst idea. Because you said this, and it's just like going to the store and buying sneakers. I am inclined when I'm in a store and I see the sneakers to buy them. But to make the effort to go to their app, to go to their website. It's
too much effort.
Plus, I don't see them. I don't get to try them on.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because put a pin in that. Put a pin in that point because I'm going to get to it as it relates to Notre Dame.
Okay.
So hold on a second because TV, like to your point about Fox and ESPN.
That's the analogy to TV.
Totally.
When you're on TV, I don't have to go seek out the app. I'm flipping through the channels.
That's why the CW deal for the ACC is actually pretty damn
not
good.
That bad.
And then the CW,
even though it's financially probably not any different.
It's not, but like CW looks like they're getting serious about sports. They just signed the Xfinity series for NASCAR. So regardless, they got the Live. You can say what you want about Live, but let's talk about TV for a second and go back to something you and I talked about a year ago about a Fox League and a Disney League. It's not all that different from the NFL.
Look at you using the terminology already.
Gotta get it right. Fox League, Disney League.
It ain't ESPN.
No, it's not. And we said this much like the NFL, where you have CBS and Fox, and you have some other rights that go to ABC Disney for Monday Night Football, buying Super Bowls, etc. And you got the Amazon package, but ultimately it's a 2 TV league deal, okay? So this is where the Pac-12 screwed up. And rather than partnering with somebody who's going to be around for the long haul, they screwed the conference network game for everybody. Because distributors figured out, oh, wait a minute, we don't have to carry you and we survived? You mean we went 10 years without having the Pac-12 network and nobody like raised a fuss? Huh.
Gets to the composition point.
I wonder.
You can do
composition that. But it has trickle effects.
But I'm saying Big Ten and SEC can say we have. That's when you get the pitchforks.
That's diminishing.
I don't disagree with
ESPN is
generations and all those other good things.
ESPN is also dealing with the fact they're not the 800-pound gorilla they used to be when it came to distributors. Distributors can say, look, guys, we're losing infrastructure. We're losing customers to Netflix.
Yeah, I don't want to lose the Bear. I don't want to lose Better Call Saul. I can lose Pac-12 after dark.
So this has actually affected ESPN and Disney in a way where Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, is openly talking about getting rid of broadcast television, selling stakes in ESPN. If you found this to be a valuable property, why would you sell stakes to the NBA? And I texted with Bomani about this last night, and I said, to your point about the NBA, they're also finding it difficult with the NBA network and to control their own content. We're like, well, wait a minute. What if we actually invested in ESPN that has all the infrastructure? Major League Baseball is the same boat because of the BAMTech, and then we have a little bit of say with what's going on. So all of this is to say is that if you're following along, I know this can get really, really nerdy, but trust me on this. This stuff matters when we start talking about conference realignment and what ultimately happened with Colorado. No offense to Colorado. They are basically another mouth to feed with the Big 12. They can get to an even number of 14 if they'd like. I know UConn has been out there. San Diego State has been thrown out there. Maybe Arizona, maybe another Pac-12 team. But this says more about the Pac-12's failure to understand where things were going, and they're going to pay the consequence. Now, how does this relate to the ACC? Well, like, for instance, there was where is my guy? Where's my guy from Daniel? He had a Hey Joe question about Costco or Sam's Club in relation to a story on ESPN.
Membership.
ACC absolutely open to expanding membership. Now, look, I got a Costco by me, so I go Costco. But what membership are they trying to include? They're not adding Pac-12 teams because, again, it gets back to television. What's the distribution? You add Arizona and Arizona State. You add Oregon and Oregon State. You're going to tell me ESPN's going to go to market with that to distributors who just went a decade without the Pac-12 saying, hey, guys, give us more money. And they're going to go, screw you guys. We didn't need you in the first place. Nobody wants these teams. There's only one team left. I keep screaming this. There's only one team left that matters for conference expansion in the ACC, and that is Notre Dame, which gets to your point about streaming. We're having this conversation. Actually, I love ACC Kickoff because you're just sitting around tables and you're just shooting the shit with other media people. You start spitballing things. You hear this, you hear that. And I was having a conversation with Luke DeCock, the News and Observer. And he pointed out to me, and I completely forgot this, and I thank him for reminding me, that the next deal for Notre Dame, the rumor is, once this current deal runs out where they have games on NBC, well, NBC's looking to get out of the game. NBC's looking to stream Peacock and stream, and that the only games that might be available that are not on the app would be on cable, like the USA Network. Do you think Notre Dame wants to be on USA Network? Do you think they want to be on Peacock on the majority of it? It gets to your point about availability.
Yeah, I don't think they want to splinter their package.
No,
because they were the early mover on NBC.
Who's available for a package on one channel starting in 2027?
Could it be Disney and ESPN?
So maybe the grant of rights in a ninja swath way is that, look, and you know my philosophy on this, half the battle in winning is to outlast everybody. And if you've got a deal and a grant of rights that allows you to outlast everybody, even though you're not necessarily making the top dollar, other people start to look and go, oh, wait, I thought we could outlast you. So it's entirely possible that in 7 years or less, as the deal goes primarily to ESPN, that Notre Dame is looking for a proper broadcast home because they would get buried on Peacock. And what does that matter for recruits? You telling me that, oh, you want to watch my son play? I want to watch my son play? What do I got to do? I got to log in to Peacock? And I got to do I get a free subscription? No? I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, coach. And Jack Swarbrick's no longer the AD. He's off to the college football playoff, the new expanded college football playoff role. So these are just things to consider. I don't think this is a seismic shift. I mean, I had some people pointing out to me, hey, didn't you just do a clip where you said conference realignment was dead? I said major conference realignment was dead. Colorado going to the Big 12 is not major conference realignment. It's the Pac-12 dying. This is a death rattle. That's what this is.
The Big 12, while they did not make major moves, they were protected by ESPN.
Yes.
Okay. And this shows you that ESPN is willing to protect what they believe is their valuable inventory. That is the niche, along with the expanded playoff that the ACC can sell themselves at. Okay. We don't make as much money as Ohio State. Fine. We don't make as much money as you don't make it now.
Yeah.
So what's so radically different about that?
It's not. Yeah.
But when Oklahoma and Texas show up in the ACC, in the SEC, and they go 9-3 and they don't make the playoff, meanwhile Florida State and Clemson are 11-1, 12-0, going to the playoff every year, I'll ask again, who would you rather be?
Housekeeping. We are back from Charlotte. Thanks to everybody who subscribed, followed, rated, left comments, all that stuff. A lot of good feedback from the ACC Kickoff. We'll be back to normal, although not really, because we're going to a golf tournament.
Are we normal?
Week. No, we're never normal, Joe.
Okay. Just making sure.
Look at the rest of our brethren on Radio Row. Do we look normal? No, we do not look normal.
Thank God.
Well, yeah, that's actually not a bad thing. One of the first things you told me when you shifted over to radio, we did our first Radio Row, and you actually spent time in my business. You're like, wait a minute. Ooh. Are these my people? Yes. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So the golf tournament sold out already?
The golf tournament is sold out.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. We still have 4 or 5 holes for title sponsors.
All right.
You can do that. It's $200. Get your name out there. My guy Steve over at Graphics House is going to take care of us. I'm also looking at prizes.
Okay.
Because I want to give away some good things in this golf tournament. I hate going to a golf tournament and getting like a club head cover, or even just like even a sleeve of balls.
Sure,
like it's a nice gesture, and I get it now that we're paying for things. Like, yeah, that costs money.
It does, yeah.
But
man.
I want like tickets to give away.
Okay.
I want like customized vans to give away.
Oh yeah, you are on that Vans
like
thing.
Home field, pick your school. ECU has some really cool stuff on home field apparel.
Tell you what, we should be getting like another Google check for YouTube. We can put that money towards some custom vans.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
People just got to tell us.
Well, no, I'm going to buy a pair of them.
Yeah,
and
but what size are they going to be?
No. I'm saying I'm going to buy people so people can see how freaking cool they are.
Oh, okay.
And then it's going to be like,
we want those.
Whoa.
Hey, man, if Bucky's can do it, we can too. Shout out to Oak City Sports Cards for all the fun this week.
That was great.
Kickoff. We had all those cards. Everybody was freaking out.
Everyone
about those
kept
87s.
asking, where did you get these? Where did you get these? How did you get these?
How did you get these? Oak City, baby.
OakCityCards.com. If you're online, if you're out of town, seriously, go check them out, OakCityCards.com. Or go to downtown off of Glenwood Avenue. Go see Weston and Katie. They do such an unbelievable job. They have a lot of big things going on, and I appreciate everyone who's gone in there and said, hey, I'm here because of the OG. Appreciate everyone who's gone there and got their cards graded too. Really, this is the equivalent of you buying the steak and cheese and being like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't even realize it. Go down there and get those cards graded.
Also, thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. It is gross. We've got heat advisories. This is peak mosquito time. Make sure you can keep those things at bay, thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Also, given it's so hot, you got critters that are going to want to get into your house. Ooh. Ants, roaches, all that crap. Pest Authority can handle that too.
Yeah, Hayes Lancaster and his crew, you name it, they can take care of it inside the house, outside the house, whether it's bugs, whether it's mice. Heck, you might have a raccoon up in the attic. They can go find that thing, take care of it. Squirrels, you name it, they're on it. Check them out at bugsbite.com.
Move on. Dave Clawson, WakeForest head football coach, sitting down with us at ACC Kickoff on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline. I said this before we started talking. I love talking to you at this time of the year, but at the same time, I get a little jealous because you have the most incredible summer vacation. So tell me what you did this summer, Coach.
So my wife, son and daughter, and my sister and brother-in-law, we rented a villa in Figlani, Verano.
I was like, I like the sound of this already. I don't even know where the villa is, man. It doesn't matter.
In Tuscany, in Italy.
Okay.
So we were kind of in the country, beautiful countryside, a little bit remote, had privacy. 5 minutes away from a train that had us in downtown Florence in about 30 minutes.
Nice.
Saw Siena, did some wine tasting. We're on some crazy roads and was in a little Italian Fiat and ate incredible food. I mean, just the Florentine beef, the pasta, the red wine. And then I got back from the trip and I got on a scale.
Yeah.
And I saw numbers I'd never seen before.
Oh, boy.
So I had to switch right away then into workout diet mode.
I was going to say, is it the wine? Is it the pasta? The answer is yes.
Yes.
I think the answer is yes. Can we get the Deke and the Fiat?
The Deke, probably not. Probably wouldn't fit.
Wouldn't fit? Top hat wouldn't fit in that thing?
Yeah,
probably
think
not.
You'd have to get one of the convertibles.
All right, so a lot's been made about Sam Hartman going to Notre Dame. But I was fascinated by the stat that Wake Forest, if I have this correct, you have the second least amount of transfers from the program in an era where it seems like everybody's transferring. I think that's great. And what do you think? We're focused on who leaves, but in a case for what you guys are doing, it's pretty impressive who's sticking around and what you're trying to do with the consistency.
Yeah, I think the nature of the portal is, people rank how people came out of the portal by who you gained and who you lost, but nobody pays attention to who you kept. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had 6 to 8 guys that were offered very lucrative offers by other schools, and they tampered. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
And they chose to stay. And to me, those are the big victories, that a lot of our best players are still at Wake Forest. And it's not like they weren't tampered with or didn't have opportunities, but they stayed. And with Sam, Sam gave us 5 great years.
Yeah.
This was his 6th year, and Sam was very upfront that he wanted to go to the NFL unless he had an incredible offer, and then he'd have to look at it. And we think the world of him, and we love him. And Rondell Bothroyd the same way. But, you know, we have a lot of other good players that other people wanted that chose to stay at Wake Forest, you know, but those things don't make great headlines.
Okay.
But if 6 of these guys had gone in the portal and had come to Wake Forest, they'd be talking about what an incredible portal year we had.
You like
the same 6 guys.
I was going to say, you like the shift in how we talk about things now. It used to be signing day. Here are all the great guys I got coming in. You have like 3 signing days now.
Yeah, and we're never going to get a lot of guys out of the portal because, quite frankly, at Wake Forest, we can't take a lot of their credits.
Yeah.
You know, that you have really good players that go to schools, but if they come to Wake, they're going to lose a fair amount of their credit hours, and it's just not worth them for them to do it. And for me to encourage that isn't, you know, it's not about eligibility. It's about getting the degree you want when you want it, and you want it to be meaningful.
Do you worry in the shifting landscape? I don't need to tell you you got the smallest stadium. I don't need to tell you you got the smallest enrollment and Power 5 and all those other things. It's been remarkable that you've competed at the level that you've had in this league. It has been. Do you worry, though, that as this continues to shift and change, that legitimately you won't have a chance to keep up?
I just view these as challenges. When I got to Wake Forest, we had the smallest stadium and the smallest campus.
Yep.
Right? So
you know what you get.
You already had those.
You already had those.
You got nice facilities, though.
And then I think anytime there's change, you know, you say, okay, can you figure out a way competitively that this can help you? And the way competitively I think this can help us is if we can provide such a great experience for our football players that when they come to Wake Forest, they're getting exactly what we promised in recruiting. They're building great relationships. They're getting a great education. They're being developed as players. They don't even want to go in the portal.
Yeah.
They're not tempted to go. So the way that we're going to survive in this era is by not losing players to the portal. And again, we lost 2 guys that were excellent players for us and great kids in their 6th year. Everyone else we kept. Now that's going to be a yearly challenge. And where does this thing go? I mean, you know, do the money offers get more and more insane? And, you know, we're going to have to be competitive in that way too. We have a collective as well.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, we understand it's changing. We're adjusting with it the best we can without trying to lose our model of recruiting guys that fit the school, that fit our program, that want to get a degree. And we're hoping the power of the degree and their experience helps retention.
Do you think some sort of oversight would help Wake Forest?
Absolutely, it would help. But I think the oversight just can't be coach-friendly. It's got to be player-friendly. Anytime a coach gets up here and says, we need guardrails.
Yeah.
We need regulation. We need rules. This is crazy. This is awful. Right? It comes off as self-serving.
Totally get
like,
it, yeah.
you know, you got these millionaire coaches that, you know,
you went to a villa in Italy.
Want more control. Now,
Yes.
the villa in Italy, it wasn't that expensive.
Got a good Airbnb deal? Is that what it's
I can show you the villa, and it was in the country, and you know, you could probably afford it on 2 weeks of advertising on your radio show.
Yeah, what radio show?
But,
Podcast only these days.
You know, there's times that these players are getting tampered with, and they're being told, if you go in the portal and come here, you'll get this much money.
Are you
They
sure?
go in the portal and go there, and they don't get it.
Yeah.
And then they're stuck there because you can't transfer a second time.
You get one free one, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, you know, part of these things as coaches is, you know, if the players are offered that, is there a way of making sure it's a legitimate offer? You know, because the bait and switch is going on with that too. And it's very unregulated right now. And, you know, we don't want regulation for control. We just want regulation that everybody's protected. Because once a guy goes in the portal and then he goes there, and if he doesn't get anything that he's told, he's stuck there.
I want to follow up a conversation we had last summer about the mesh hold record.
Did we get one? The slowest?
How's Mitch on that ranking?
Oh, I
Sam
think
would hold it forever. Where's Mitch on this?
And I think the more comfortable that he gets, I think the longer we hold it. I think the better we are in the O-line, the longer we can hold it.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have a good O-line this year. I think we'll have a really good O-line. So, you know, putting people in that run-pass dilemma, allowing throwing lanes to develop, allowing the space to clear up, having time to see who the extra fitter in the run game is. That's what makes us go. And the longer we hold that mesh, the more the routes can progress downfield. So a lot of our really, really big plays have come on those long meshes.
You're a stubborn dude. You're a smart guy, though. I love the stubbornness, the Gene Hackman energy. My team is on the floor, man. I love that about you. You don't care. You love it. That's the challenge that you love.
So it's been a fun job, and in this day and age in Power 5 football,
tell me I can't, right?
I've been able to stay at the same place for 10 years. So I think right now in the ACC, I believe Dabo, Dave, and myself are 3 of the 8 longest tenured Power 5 coaches.
Yes.
And when you're at a place as long as we have, the challenge, you're going to have new challenges, and your ability to face them and deal with them and find a way allows you to stay there. And if you stay stubborn and you're not willing to adjust, you're not going to make it.
Coach, we appreciate the time.
Here's to another 10 years.
Yeah, love it.
I don't know about that. That time in Italy was pretty good. I might want to spend some more time there.
I can get used to this. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
Next topic, please.
Always fun catching up with Dave Clawson. I think he likes us. I think. Maybe.
There's no doubt.
Okay. Sometimes I wonder about coaches.
No. The way that he was animated there at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Stop. Like, that doesn't happen with other people. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So you sent me this link. I have not heard it yet. It's Jacoby Brissett. Good old brisket.
Yeah. Obi-Wan Jacoby.
And I have not heard this yet, but it made you mad. You're animated.
Initially, it made me angry. And now I'm just kind of like,
tell you what.
You know what? He started his career at Florida. So what's the big deal?
He was on with Smiley Kaufman. Smiley is with NBC Sports, Sirius XM Golf, etc. And here is the clip on the Sirius XM Smiley Show podcast with Jacoby Brissett.
People are going to hate me for this, but I always wanted to go to North Carolina to play basketball. And then like football, it was like wherever I can go play, it was wherever I was going to go play.
So how is this QB room going to work now that you're an NC State guy, but I just kind of found out you're a North Carolina guy in your back of your head, but we're not going to hold that to you. And then Sam Howell is a Carolina guy. So do you two got any bets lined up for the NC State North Carolina game yet or no?
The funny thing is I haven't told him that I was a UNC fan yet.
Okay. Do NC State people know this, that you have this?
Some of them, yeah. On my visit to NC State, the basketball team was playing against North Carolina. So we go to the game, and I'm like, for like UNC in my head, and NC State wins, and everybody's like going crazy. Like in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I'm mad. Like I didn't want NC State to win. I want UNC to win. And me and Sam, I'm sure we're gonna get some bets going until it's basketball season. Then I'm probably gonna keep my bets to a minimum.
What? So he was silently mad? What?
Think about it. He was at like the one game State won, by the way.
Right, because Roy kicked Kent State's ass all the time. It was like the one. And he's like, damn it.
Damn. It's kind of sort of a form of NC State shit, though, isn't it? That the guy who ends up being the quarterback goes to the one State Carolina basketball game and State wins.
Woo, man. I was not prepared for that. I'm glad I watched that cold. I was not ready for that.
So full disclosure, Jacoby Brissett started for 2 years, sat out 1 year when he was here.
But he was like the savior, because like Dave Doran talked about
that first year they had no quarterback.
Who was the quarterback while he was redshirt? Or
Pete Thomas and Brandon Mitchell. That's right. That was the ill-fated.
It didn't work.
No.
So
listen, I've obviously I did a podcast with Mike Lennon. I like Mike Lennon.
Yes.
Okay.
Mikey G's our guy.
Yeah. I mean, there's players that you can figure out that I like. Okay. There are other players who are just like, just be indifferent to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then there's other players who I actively did not like.
They didn't get your charm.
Sure.
I know of one quarterback you didn't like.
I actively did not like Ryan Finley. He actively did not like me.
Sure. Jacoby
was not at that level, but Jacoby was definitely not of the, like, who is this guy? Oh, he's funny. I get it. Whatever. It was, the thing with Jacoby was he didn't like talking about Jacoby.
Okay.
If you had asked him like other stories, he would be very good. Like if you asked him about Joe Tooney, he'd tell you a great Joe Tooney story. If you asked him about Dave Doran, or you asked him about any receivers who played with him, he'd tell you great stuff.
Mm.
But he didn't love doing media stuff. Okay. And now that I get older, I get a little bit more understanding of people who are like that. They don't like doing it. To which I always say to those people, if you don't love doing media stuff, just go be the punter. Go be the backup punter. You don't ever have to talk to anybody.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Like when you're the quarterback, you're the face of the program. You have to do media stuff. So that was always kind of one of my gripes with Jacoby. I still hold it against him in NC State that Jacoby Brissett was mentored by Bill Parcells, who's from Oradell, New Jersey. Bill Parcells is in the Riverdale Hall of Fame. If you don't know where those locations are, it's where my dad taught for 41 years. Okay.
So you're trying to vibe with him.
Like, come on, man. Give me a break. You can't, like, at some point, you can't tell me this vital information.
I was always told that the Jersey Mafia sticks together.
They should.
But I guess not. Like, because everybody's like, the exit in the high school they went to.
Yeah, so I'm still a little bit upset about that. But
all right.
Ultimately, he was never one of my favorites, and that's fine. But it's not like he's not on the Ryan Finley Dennis Smith list.
This is not helping you.
No, I know, but he's not on that list.
No, I'm just saying, but this does not help.
This to me, though, here's the part I love. He qualifies it with, people are going to hate me for this. And you know what?
At least he knows.
I love the self-awareness, man.
I love the self-awareness. That's good on him.
If we learned anything this week, when Drake May sat down and he was like, yeah, well, I went to this camp with Riley Leonard. It was great. We've become friends. And that's fans and even media get confused by two things. They think if you're at Duke and I'm at State, or you're at State and I'm at Carolina, that we hate each other. Not true. You're at Duke, I'm at Carolina. You must hate each other. Not true. The other mistake they make is, oh, you're at State. You're at State. Oh, you're on the team. You must be best friends. You must be sitting around holding hands, singing Kumbaya. Not the real world,
no,
sir.
No.
So those are two big mistakes that coaches and players know. Oh, yeah. They know who their friends are.
We're friends with Breeze Through.
Gotta be
friends. If you haven't been friends with Breeze Through, what are you doing? Go to Breeze Through. Get the lifetime refill mug. Hit the beer cave this weekend if you're going out to the beach or the lake or something like that. And understand, as you start preparing for your tailgating, speaking of NC State, there's a location right there across from Carter Finley Stadium. Get the growlers, the crowlers, extra food, go into the beer cave, all that stuff. They got you covered.
$20, man. Lifetime refills.
Best damn deal, man. Speaking of good deals, Butcher's Market's got some awesome steak, chicken, wings, burgers, pre-made burgers, dogs. But as we're talking about grilling, Butcher's Market has just about everything you need, from rubs, stuff to use, the wood chips to smoke, pellets, charcoal. It gets fancy, man. You want mesquite, you want this, you want that, you want to add different flavors. They got all that at the Butcher's Market, so go check them out. And of course, the steak and cheese, which I might be getting this weekend.
Thebutchersmarkets.com. Seriously, stop fooling around. Get down there. Carry Holly Springs over at the mothership off of Millbrook.
We're moving on.
Hanging out at ACC Kickoff is our friend Michael Felder. This is what I love about events like this. We talk to friends of the program, Joe. And Felder's been a long-time friend of the program. Field of 12 podcast, Stadium, in the bleachers on Twitter. Felder, what up, man?
Man. Well, just some background. Joe and I had a fun night last night, man. We hung out. Came over to the crib. We had a little bit of wild turkey. We had a good time.
Dude, we dadded so hard.
Yeah.
We talked dad things.
We talked some real dad stuff. We talked about like I'm at, because my kid's only 5.
Yeah.
So I was like, what happens next?
Well, Joe can tell you because he's got a kid going to ECU. Woo! There's the next level that happens.
Dude, both of my parents went to ECU.
Nice. I'm ready. I'm embraced my inner pirate.
Let me.
Are you kidding me? I'm going to tell you this right now. I know this is where ACC Media Days, but I'm going to say this. Keep it quiet. ECU has the best slogan. I think they got the best midfield logo. I think it's better than LSU's.
So good that State stole it.
I absolutely love it. But they got the best slogan in all college sports. No quarter.
Yeah.
And folks that are listening that didn't grow up in North Carolina, we got a pirate unit. Like when we were in school, we learned about pirates. No quarter is the hardest thing that you can say. It literally means we're not going to take prisoners. We're killing everybody. That's it.
I love it. It's good. It's good.
Scorch it.
Yeah.
So here's what you and I were talking about this the other day, and I think it actually illustrates a very good point of where we are in college athletics, college football specifically.
Right.
Because you eat, like when people joke about, oh man, I was eating tape. You literally eat
No,
tape.
legitimately.
He like Felder legitimately does this. When you're talking about, yeah, man, I was doing my scouting reports, whatever, and you kind of threw your hands up in the air because of the transfer portal stuff, right? So I'm going to read a comment that we got on YouTube yesterday. We were having a conversation with Roddy Jones.
Yeah, love
and
him. I just got done talking to him.
Yeah, no, Roddy's the best, man. And Roddy was high on NC State, but there are some legitimate questions about their offense. Not just, hey, Robert and I, Brennan Armstrong, cool, got it.
Yeah.
So this guy, Bob, he's watching, and he's like, y'all ain't doing the homework. And this is what he writes on YouTube. Let me tell you who the playmakers are going to be on offense.
Okay.
Michael Allen, Trent Penix, Bradley Rosner, Julian Gray, Terrell Timmons, Anthony Smith, with a few flashes from Juice Vereen and Kevin Concepcion. Not to mention strong play from guys like Houston, DJ Collins, Porter Rooks, Keon Lassane, Chris Tootle, and keep an eye on
The
Kendrick.
entire depth chart?
Yeah.
Right, and I
just named the whole roster.
I responded to him, Bob, congratulations on your Phil Steele arriving in the mail.
Right.
So the point being is, yes, you can look at the roster. Yes, you might feel high about these things, but you said something to me that went, you kind of put your hands up in the air.
Right.
Because of the transfer portal. You don't know. And this is true not just at NC State, but like everywhere in
It's
the
everywhere.
ACC, man.
You know this. I like to make a spread. I love spreadsheets. We talked about that last night too.
Oh, you're going to get to that.
Okay, yes.
We're going to get to that.
I love spreadsheets, and I like to make my own rosters because it helps me get familiar with who's on the team and what they look like. And usually I go off of spring. I go through spring reports, like from beat writers of how does this guy look? How does that guy look? And I go all the way but now I started trying to build rosters, and I started with Alabama.
Okay.
It makes sense. They're a team that most people expect to win the national championship. And I was like, oh, this is a new guy. And that guy's gone. And where's this guy? Then you get to, and that they are like Clemson. I should have started with Clemson.
Yes.
At least that would have been pretty easy.
Yeah, their roster's pretty intact.
Pretty intact. But like when I was looking at then you start to get whether it's not even just NC State. When you get to like Virginia, when you get to
Virginia has a Monmouth transfer.
Yeah.
Starting at quarterback.
Exactly. Like then you start to get into your Miami. Then you get in. Don't even get me started on like Colorado. Like you start looking, you're like,
Well, they have an entirely new roster.
right. And then you talk about guys that 17 players out of the portal at some places, 19 players.
Louisville.
I mean,
Florida
like,
State.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I just gotta wait till College Press Box pops them out. Because I can't do it. It's a fool's errand right now. I might as well focus on watching the guys I know. Like I've been watching a lot of Jordan Travis, watching a lot of Drake May, and then the thing that, and I never sit next to my guy here from Clemson.
Yeah.
Watching K. Klubnik was a chore. Not because he's good, but because he played so much garbage time that when they put together his clips, most of it is like they're already up by 30 points.
Yeah, what are you getting out of that?
Like this is nothing.
Yeah,
and
what are you
then
getting?
I don't want to see garbage time. I don't want to see screens. I want to see throws. And it took a long time to find throws. Like a guy pushing it into the middle, a guy pushing it to the corner. And it took a long time to find that because he hasn't played a ton of football. So I know the hype train is real, but he hasn't played a ton of football. And then you get to Drake May, and Drake May I think is really good. I just passed him in the hallway. I didn't realize how tall he was.
Yeah, he's a tall dude.
Yeah, which explains why his helmet looks the way it does. He's got the long ass neck.
When are we going to start talking about Drake May as the number 1 overall pick? You probably watch more Caleb Williams than the average person and can have an educated opinion on this.
He is the person that has the opportunity to unseat him as the number 1 overall pick. I'm very curious to see what this year looks like for UNC, though. And the difference between doing this, what we're doing right now, ACC Media Days, talking about the ACC, talking about college football, and NFL guys, I guarantee you there are going to be NFL guys, NFL draft guys that are like, he should be number 1. No doubt in my mind. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Sims has Drake May 1.
Okay.
Would not surprise me at all.
Okay.
He checks every box that you want for the NFL.
So what is it about UNC that might there's 2 evaluations. There's what you see in the raw talent of Drake May and how you project he's going to be in the NFL, but what's going to keep it from kind of the team itself?
I don't know what this team's going to look like, man.
No Josh Downs, man.
No Josh Downs.
I love Josh Downs, but I actually think they'll be better without him because of the moves they made in the portal.
Well, it's
more diversified anyway.
Makes sense.
Want to see what the run game looks like. I also, with full disclosure, Chip Lindsey, like I'm I'm a fan. I like him.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, but there's a but.
There was.
But I think he's better with a quarterback that runs more.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, I think he's better with like a Nick Marshall.
But
type
do you
guy.
think Drake can run more?
I don't?
Should he run more?
I don't want him to.
Okay.
Should not run more.
He should not run more. All
He,
right.
he led the team in rushing a year ago.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't want him.
That's like 2 years in a row too, because Sam Howell had the same business.
Because here's the thing. If this is going to be, and this is where we find that juxtaposition, right?
Yeah.
If this is going to be, if they're going to be good offensively at UNC, he's going to have to run.
Yeah.
But if he is going to pass, as you mentioned, Joe, if he's going to pass Caleb Williams, I don't need him running.
Right.
And if he's going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, I don't want him running. If I'm a GM, if I'm his agent, if I'm his dad, I'm like, yo, dude, stand back there and throw, just drop seeds, but please do not.
He needs to get that Russell Wilson in Seattle plan.
Yes.
Which was, we don't have design runs, but when it's third down, you can pick something up,
you can
get it,
steal
and get out.
But like,
Don't get hit.
And get out of bounds.
Yes.
Get down on the
Don't
ground.
be a hero.
I don't know if he played baseball or not, but work on them slides.
Yeah.
Because the
His
thing
brother won a national championship at Florida.
yeah.
That's crazy. The success of that family.
Super
The
athletic.
the May family is nuts, and you know Mark May, the father.
Yeah.
And I got to know Mark a little bit on a previous project about
Sure.
the Raleigh-Durham Skyhawks. His career was derailed because of a shoulder injury,
Right.
but he was a big deal recruit
So you know
when he
what?
got to UNC.
You know what doesn't need to be derailed by a shoulder injury?
Exactly.
Drake May. You know what you don't need to do? Helicopter trying to get into get
Which
a
he
first
did.
down.
Yeah, he did that last year against App State. It was like, buddy.
If you didn't love Carolina the way that family does, would you tell your son, don't play this year?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or does he show up to Carolina?
Well, that's the other thing.
I mean, he's a legacy. I mean, with Mac Brown.
No, I'm saying like this year in particular.
Oh,
like
just
if
not
he
play.
does not play a down this
You
year,
gotta play.
You got to play.
You gotta play.
You got to play.
We're
Micah
past that.
Parsons,
We're
Jamar
past that.
Chase.
We're past that point.
I understand. I understand it was a different circumstance, but
Yeah.
those two players showed that you can take a year off and go to the NFL and immediately dominate.
Yeah. It's on the table. I don't.
You know who that would happen to?
Who?
It was State.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen to Carolina.
You got the. I mean,
They would have- they would have
the
their-
kings of the none and done.
They would have their version of like Jadeveon
Philip
Clowney.
Rivers' kid.
Right.
Oh, which
I'm
one?
committed to. Yeah, he's got 10.
The
now.
oldest now is starting for him this
Okay.
year.
Like
All
that's
right.
unbelievable. Like,
Yeah.
Are you
Prolific.
kidding me?
So if you did a scouting report on Philip Rivers for the pool, you'd have a lot to keep track of with all the kids.
Dude,
All right, so I'm not
I
kidding.
can't imagine.
So Felder and I are talking last night, and
I have a kid, and it's a lot.
yeah, he's got 10.
I was late. I was 10 minutes late today.
But it's a lot because I'm not
No, it's
trying to dismiss what you're saying here. When you have the second one and you basically don't pay attention to
Yeah.
the second
Right,
one the
that's
same
all-
way you did the
second
first.
kid,
Oh,
man.
come-
Then
Hey,
you're
Second
like,
kid.
then you're like, man, when I had one, that was like so easy. What was I
I'm deep
fretting over?
into parenting Instagram.
Yeah.
That's where I
Oh,
find
no.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. That's where I find all these like little projects that I do with my kid.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so like did you see her like little art gallery wall?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
We took refinish vintage window frames and put her art in there, and
It's cool.
That's
I
great.
refinished the toy box that my wife had when she was a kid.
That's awesome.
And so like I'm in. I'd
You're a
love to-
doer, man.
Oh yeah,
But it goes beyond that. So, like,
Okay.
everybody goes to the pool. You go to the pool. I go to the pool. When you and I go to the pool and you see other neighborhood
Yeah.
people there or the parents of your kids' friends, you have this like, yeah, that's such and such
Yeah,
as dad.
maybe I text my dad and say, "Hey,
who's
what's
that?
the
Right, who-
neighbor
right,
of
right.
Stacy?"
And then you kind of get that. You get the context clues. The classic thing that I always do is when I don't remember the person's name, I always go, hey, this is my wife, Kelly, which automatically goes, hey, I'm such and such. So that's like my trick.
yeah, sure. Everybody knows that.
Everybody
trick.
knows
That's
those
a
tricks,
classic.
right? You have done scouting reports on parents at the pool.
Yeah, and at the preschool.
Okay, how do you break this down, dude?
Okay, so I got I told you I love spreadsheets.
Yes, you do.
So I got a spreadsheet. Here, I'll pull it up. Let me pull it up. But I got
so that you're not bullshitting us.
yeah, it's not. I got a spreadsheet, and basically, what it is. So let's see what we got here. So it's a spreadsheet. It's labeled "Who Are You?" And
Joe, you got to respect this. You love a spreadsheet.
so much.
You love a spreadsheet.
and it's got basically it has like all of our like my friends from life. I don't need a key fact, talking point, or key feature for them. But like the people from the pool, I do need a key. Like, so it shows how I met them. Life, pool, preschool, you know. And so kid name, parent or parent's name. Because I don't remember all of them all the time.
Sure.
And then
can you easily pull it up on the phone?
This gives you a lot of respect for a Dean Smith and a Roy Williams who could do this without this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
those two guys have those names, and everybody's mother and brother, and yeah.
Well, this is how I do that.
Okay.
This is how I'm able to do it, because I look at this and I'll be like, okay, when we go to the pool, we're probably gonna see Bobby. Bobby is friends with Blake and he's divorced. We're gonna go see we're gonna go.
I need a marital status. I need a Mel Kiper though. I need like a Mel Kiper like cadence of
okay.
Right. So Kaylee's parents, they're divorced. The father works at such and such.
So we have Blake. I don't remember his wife's name. They have a baby. They also have a kid who's my kid's age. They live 2 blocks from me, but we met them at the pool. Next to Clark, Braves fan. Clark, don't remember his kid's name, but I know that he lives 2 blocks from us. He's a UGA family. They have a white house, black shutters, red door.
Love it.
Like
Love it.
I'm in. What do we got? We got Juliana, buff husband, 2 boys with long hair.
I was
Huge
waiting
dog.
for the physical appearance.
Yeah,
I was waiting.
Don't know his name, but he's a buff dude. She trains one of my kids' preschool classmates that they're going to elementary school with.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah,
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Listen,
this explains so much of your ability to recall stuff when we're getting ready for the football season.
Because if I write it down, I remember.
Yeah.
That's why I also still use a physical notebook most of the time.
I've converted to physical notebook, actually.
It makes me remember.
It's actually helped me.
Yeah.
It's helped me.
We got 2 kids, Will and Lucy. Pool. She got me a beer and doesn't like the pool. She hates going to the pool. Lucy hates going to the pool.
Some people are like that. You and I are actually talking about that, too.
I don't like going to the pool.
It's grown on me.
Dude, it's hot.
That's what the water's for.
I don't want to be in that water.
You don't want to be in that water.
There's kids in there. They're peeing.
Yeah, that's true.
They are.
I know they're peeing.
Because none of them go into the bathroom.
No, yeah, it is.
And they're there for 4 hours.
Yeah, it is pretty wild that Caleb and Jacob just never go to the
They never
bathroom.
go to the bathroom.
Weird. Yeah, that's a problem. All right, before we get out of here, based on all your, we know Clemson, we know Florida State. We talked plenty about UNC. The thing that I'm curious about is who's actually going to surprise. And you can't say Louisville, because Louisville is a cheat code because everybody's obsessed with their schedule. So who will actually surprise?
You know what? I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to Wake.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Wake.
Going that Mitch Griffiths.
Bingo.
Okay.
He's a guy that's been there for, 4 years?
He knows the mesh.
Just got done talking to Roddy about him. Roddy's excited.
All right.
So I'm going to go with Wake. They keep being successful.
All right.
The other reason to like Wake is the same one to like Louisville.
Schedule?
I mean,
What's their schedule
it's
look
not
like?
as free of a ride, but the start of their schedule has big 06 vibes of like, oh, look
at you building.
Look, we're going to win a couple of games, and all of a sudden we're going to be confident. Duke 13,
I'm now pulling it up.
Felder.
Let's see.
They get to October before they play Clemp. They should be 4-0 when they play Clemp.
Here's the thing, man.
Are we calling them Clemp?
He
always
does. They don't like it when you use a Z. So my New Jersey, if I normally would say Clemson.
It's called Clemson.
I know, but that's not how it comes out of my mouth.
He also says Mario.
So I have to say it with a P. They are okay if I say P, but not Z. Lawton can attest to this.
Like
Clemp.
It's like you go to Wilson, now it's Wilson. There's a magic T in there.
Yeah, there's a T.
No, I'm from the South, man. Like I put an S on everything. Like I go to Subways. Yeah. We go to Walmarts. I go to Belk's.
The YouTubes.
Yes, the YouTubes.
Yeah. The youths.
All that stuff.
No, I mean, you're right. They play Elon. They play Vandy. They should beat Vandy. They should beat ODU.
They should come out the gate.
Like that. Here's the thing. They'll do something Virginia Tech couldn't do. Beat Old Dominion.
Before we say goodbye, have you considered making a college press box version of what you do to track parents?
I want to see my scouting
report. An app.
I mean,
like an app with allows you to put notes in. Dude, that's a money making idea, dude.
I know, and I think if I knew how to do it, I would.
Parent press box.
Parent press box, and you just like pull just buttons that you push, and it's like kid's name, pool.
Let's go.
Preschool, school. Met him at the this, met him at the that.
Uh-huh.
I went to dinner with these people. I don't know the husband's name. we went to lunch after. First of all, we had a preschool graduation.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
It's whatever.
Yeah, they have that.
They have that.
Yeah, I know. They have it. I had to go to
It's the cap and gown industry. Just trying to sell things.
They didn't. There was nothing to buy.
It's like the
We
wedding
just had to
dress.
show up.
It's the wedding dress and diamond industry. You need your actual gown, and then you need the.
We didn't have to buy anything.
No, what I'm saying is like now you have your actual
Maybe
wedding
the school
gown,
did.
and then you have
the
your
school?
reception gown.
At preschool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you have upgraded diamond rings too. It's like, oh yeah, remember when you guys got married 10 years ago?
You had
and
$4 to your name.
and you only have like X amount of money in your name,
Dude,
and you can only afford this kind of
listen.
diamond. Well, guess what? It's 10 years later. Why don't you trade that diamond in? Like, what do you mean trade? It's not a car.
Dude, you're so.
Uh-oh. Now, mind you, I'm on my second wedding band because I lost my first one. But
this is still the. This is still the OG.
I had
That's
a platinum.
impressive.
I had a platinum one back in the day when platinum was the hotness.
Yeah.
I lost a bunch of weight. They can't size it down any further. I lose it at the beach. So I went tungsten. Now they're gonna have to like cut this thing off me.
My brother has
But it's
tungsten,
whatever.
and-
It was $200.
Dude, but that's I listen, there's a reason I don't wear nice watches. There's a reason I think this is palladium. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's palladium.
Yeah.
Because I am you said I'm a doer. I'm constantly, whether it's a saw or it's putting my hand down a garbage disposal, like I can't have that happen. I need to be able, I don't want to have that. Whatever happens when your ring gets caught, I can't have that. Same thing with my watch. Like, and I'm gonna ruin a watch. I mess them up because they're banging. Like, if you're out there using a chainsaw, I keep my watch on all the time. But you're out there using a chainsaw.
You're so manly. Hands and garbage disposals and
Yeah, man.
chainsaws.
Yeah, but last night I cooked for like five guys, and like I made pizza.
Yeah, but you make pizza that
was
like
gonna say, this
Detroit style.
doesn't
You're making
sound
Detroit
like-
style pizza, and it actually like you're nailing the bubbled over cheese crust.
Oh, I love it.
Right?
My wife's from outside Detroit. I'm like, yeah, I make what my wife likes.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Man,
But no,
savant. All right, Felder.
All right, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Guys, this is
And
always
again,
fun.
Parent press box. Let's go. I'll invest. We'll
Let's
take some
work-
of our
I'll work on
advertising.
it.
We'll take some OG money. We'll invest.
There we go.
Good
Let's do
seed
it.
money.
What's up next? What's up next?
Would you buy the Felder parent press box?
Yes.
So you can.
Yeah.
You're pretty good about remembering people.
No, but
I'm
that's
not.
next level, man.
I'm not.
That's
I'm
next
terrible
level.
with that stuff, man. I'm not really good about that. Maybe we can do that app. We can start the business. We can go to Whitaker and Hamer to
Patent that
To
thing.
patent. I'm sure they could file it, right? I mean, I still think Whitaker and Hamer needs to go look at that Pac-12 granted rights. Apparently, that everybody's looking to exit now. Oh, one did it or two did it. Well, guess what? We're going to do it too. That's exactly what Colorado did. If you're looking to break a grant of rights, well, maybe Whitaker and Hamer can help. Check them out online at wh.lawyer. Or if you want to start your own app business, maybe you contact
I was
them to
going
get
to
things
say
going.
more practically, if you're selling a business, closing on a house, any kind of family law related issues, Josh Whitaker, Joe Hamer, more than 20 years experience. They got all the locations, Garner, Gastonia, Raleigh, Clayton, all over. You find them. And again, the world's greatest URL, wh.lawyer.
My Hometown Realty. Check them out online. myhtr.com. Speaking of selling a home, buying a home, they got agents. They got tons of agents.
More than 250.
They got the area covered. They know how
6
competitive things are.
locations.
They know how things are competitive around here. This market is nuts. You need somebody to navigate that for you. Hometown Realty can do it again. Check them out online, myhtr.com.
People, I need you to look me in the sockets right now. We got to stop fooling around. If you're selling your house, if you're buying a house, go get my man, Barry Woodard. Go get his team, myhtr.com. If you've ever been on 70, you've seen all the billboards. There's a reason they are the size they are. There's a reason they've had the success they are. It's because they're the best. So check them out, myhtr.com.
Move on.
All right, that goes to the Cedric Gray. Now we go to David Hale.
Next topic, please.
No, not yet. Let me do that.
Okay.
Next topic.
ACC kickoff, day 3. Cedric Gray, North Carolina, sitting down with us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. You got a scouting report for this new offensive scheme that you're seeing? You want to break it down for us? Everybody's intrigued.
Nah. I think I'm gonna keep that to myself. You know what I'm saying?
Smart man.
You know
Very
what I'm
smart.
saying?
Very smart.
He'll find out week 1.
Yeah, Shane Beamer doesn't watch our stuff, man. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Please.
So let's. The off-season conversation has been about what your defense wasn't, and I know that your head coach Mac Brown has been trying to talk about what your defense was down the stretch. So, what's been the mentality this offseason to kind of correct that chatter from last year?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's some truth to all that stuff. I mean, we definitely started off very rocky, giving up 61 points to App State. I think we gave up about 45 to Notre Dame. So it definitely was a rocky start. But like Coach Mack said, I mean, towards ACC play and towards the end of the season, it did get a lot better. I think really we're just building off of that. I think we're just trying to keep improve as a defense and just trying to keep being better. You know, we're not really worried about all the talk or, oh, we were good or bad or whatever the case may be. I mean, we're just trying to win football games, and we're just trying to be a great defense. So that's what we've been doing this offseason, just trying to get better. You know, I've said before, like, this is our second year under Coach Gene Chisholm. Yeah. And I think, guys, I noticed it in the spring and even to the point now where we have improved a lot since last year, just a lot. And guys just have a better understanding of what's going on because we've done this before now for a year now.
Is it possible that, you know, some people from the outside might look at all the exits on defense and say, "Oh man, how are they gonna replace all these guys who left?" Right. But isn't it possible that it gives you guys a chance to reset, a refresh, and that you'd actually be better because you're not trying to relearn something? This is a whole new group.
Yeah, I mean,
or for the most part.
Me personally, I mean, yeah, we had a few, you know, guys leave to transfer portal as far as you know, in the secondary. But other than that, you know, our front is the same. You know, we got the same backers. I mean, and even with a lot of the DBs leaving, I mean, you know, we got guys on roster who are ready to step up. You know, we brought in a few transfers as well who I think will, you know, be good for our defense and be good for our team. But I think we have a lot to build off from last year. I mean, you got me and Power in the middle. Yep. I mean, our D-line, I mean, it's deep. It is deep. I mean, we got about 8 to 10 guys who I look at and I'm like, these dudes can make some plays. They're some large human beings. So I think we'll definitely be just fine. You know, I'm very confident in what we have and the talent that we have. You know, I think it's really just up to us. You know, how far do we take it? You know.
Yeah, a lot of people for this game in Charlotte. We'll talk about Drake, and he's from Charlotte, and it's the offense and all those things. It's got to be pretty cool for you being from Charlotte, playing South Carolina, team you guys have a little bit of history with. Yeah. It's got to be kind of cool. And now that game day is going to be there as well, just your thoughts on opening the season that way in the national spotlight, being on game day, and it being in your hometown.
Yeah. No, it's definitely very exciting. You know, like you said, I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. You know, playing in my hometown has always been exciting for me. You know, I've played here 2 times before, never got a W here. So it's time to get a W here.
Okay.
So that would have been the South Carolina game.
Yeah. We played them in the Dukes Mayo 2 years ago, and then we lost to Clemson last year in the ACC championship here. But yeah, I'm very excited to come back to my city. You know, where I'm from. Got a lot of family and friends here, who just want to support me throughout the journey. So definitely happy. You know, the games in Charlotte this year.
You see the baseball cards?
I do.
Probably not a thing you got into?
No.
That's fine. You see, we pulled a football card out earlier.
I see who you got here, my boy Sammy Howell.
But I got a couple here for you.
Right on the top.
But I do want you to open a pack because some of your former teammates will be there.
Okay, got Josh there.
That's Josh. Do you want to see the other one?
Yeah. Keep it
This
going.
is surprising. I don't know the other one is. What's the other one? Oh.
Tony Grimes.
I see that.
That's my homie.
Okay.
That is my homie.
All right, well, I got him, but let's see.
I still got love for my
get
boy
you open
Tony.
a pack here.
Yeah,
let's
open
see
a pack. You might get another old teammate on there. You never know.
Let's see. Who we got? It's not one of my teammates.
Uh-oh.
Who we got?
I don't know who
Penn
that is.
State, maybe?
Drew Alar.
Oh, yeah.
Bijan Robinson.
Not bad.
Jamar Gibbs. John Emery.
Oh, boo. No TarHeels.
No TarHeels. Oh, that's a bummer.
Should I go one more?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You want to
Go
open
for
up
it.
another one? Go for it, man.
Come on. Let's find a homie.
Now, with NIL, did you do any of these card things? Like you want to sit down and sign 6,000 autographs on a card?
I've done something like it before.
Yeah.
But no.
No ACC even.
You know, I had like a fan send me some fan mail one time. And they made me like my own little
Like your own
card.
little card?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it was-
awesome.
it
I
was
love
awesome.
that.
It was
I
Very
really
cool.
good, yeah.
See what we got in this one.
Appreciate it.
Cedric
Yeah,
Gray.
no TarHeels on this one, though,
Ah,
either.
man, another striking out. Cedric Gray, UNC. Appreciate it, man. Take it easy.
Thank you.
We're moving on.
Joining us at ACC Kickoff on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline from ESPN, he is David Hale. We promised you garbage pail kids, David.
And you delivered.
And we delivered a box.
Do I get to open them up?
Absolutely.
All right.
Open them up.
I couldn't be more excited about this. Have you ever seen like Ravel will like do videos of him opening cards on
Yes.
Twitter, and I always
Yeah.
wonder who's watching this. And
Now
this
you
is
know.
even worse because it's just on the radio. It's just audio
no,
of
it's
me
not.
opening.
It's YouTube.
Whoa.
It's technically-
Whoa.
hey. YouTube, Hale.
Wow.
Sorry, you're right.
Wow.
All right. I got
This is even worse.
I got Barbarian Brandon.
Nice.
Off the wall Paul is just a head hung on a.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Grim Jim.
Like it.
Fahrenheit Ferris. Dropping off Dorothy. I don't know about
what?
this.
What?
Yeah, is she coming out of an outhouse?
What is
That's a little
happening right
risque.
there?
Dropping the kids off at the pool.
What's going on there? Gross
Pulp
adaptation.
Payton, this is a good. Oh, Jam Jason, big fan. He's stuck in a toilet.
These are all toilet
And
things, aren't they?
Norm Narnia. Does C.S. Lewis like get to sue over rights on this?
That's great.
These
I
are
love
great.
it.
Excellent. Thank
That's
you.
No, fantastic. By the way, you can take some more if you'd like.
I'm going to take some more.
By
I'm
all
gonna-
means.
Have you asked any players about Garbage Pail Kids? Do any of them know what it is?
No, you're actually. We have not talked to players yet. We're gonna do that
Okay.
today. We're actually gonna give them the choice of: do you want to open up Garbage Pails Kids? Do you even know what that is, or were you a Pokemon person? Because we
I'm
had some
sure
Pokemon
they
cards.
are, because I was. So this is my line of demarcation: is are you a Fred Savage or a Ben Savage person? You either grew up on Wonder Years or Boy Meets World. I'm Fred Savage.
Fred Savage.
My brother is Ben Savage.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, with Pokemon, it was you remember when the game came out for the Game Boy, and you're like, okay, cool, I get the phenomenon, and then you're my brother who's 16 years younger than me and has books of Pokemon cards. So I'm curious that there are some players like Roddy Jones came by and he was like, oh, I was into Pokemon. He's about 10 years younger than us, and he was like, I have my guys. Right? Is he
It's
like
more than that.
Is it more than that?
Yes.
Are we that old?
Yes.
Jeez. Okay. Fair enough. You know what? Let's get off that topic because I don't want to depress myself. Let's bring some optimism to the room. Okay. Clemson, Florida State, and then David.
I assured Pat Narduzzi last night that I would answer this question with Pitt this year. Do I believe that? It doesn't matter. I just want to make Pat Narduzzi happy. No, I think Pitt is a good answer to this question because I think they look. I like bringing in Jacoby. I think that's a huge upgrade at quarterback for them. They're going to be good at the line of scrimmage. I like their secondary. They've got some weapons. I don't know how many places they're great this year, but I think they're pretty good across the board, and they feel to me like that team that probably has the highest floor. I would be surprised if Pitt is bad. I think a few things go right. Easy enough to get them to the 8-9, maybe 10 win mark if everything goes right. How many other teams can you say that about? I think there's a handful of teams where the window is huge. Like, what is Carolina going to be this year? Drake May's awesome, I know that, but I watched them play defense for last year, and they weren't very good. Are they better than, like, the window for Carolina? Like, there's 4 games they could have easily lost last year, or they played as they did in an ACC championship game. You know, I look at a team like Miami. They were 5-7 last year and pretty bad. Most of that team's different this year. You look at Louisville. They won 8 games last. People keep talking about Louisville as a dark horse this year, and I'm like, they won 8 games last year, but the team is almost entirely different. So I don't know what to expect. There's just, I think part of this comes with the transfer portal now is that rosters turn over quicker. There's a lot of teams that I say, like, I don't know. I could see, again, the Miami, 5-7 year out of a lot of these teams, or there's enough talent on some of these rosters and the way that, no one would have said Duke last year is winning 9 games, but the schedule worked out perfectly for them. That's, I think, a reason a lot of people like Louisville is the schedule sets up well. But I'll say I think the team that has the fewest question marks outside of those top 2 for me is probably Pittsburgh.
Would you like to be a trendsetter with us?
I don't know that
I don't know that Pittsburgh and trendiness have ever overlapped in any sort of conversation. And you know what? Being with you guys, I should have included this. No one's picking NC State this year, so therefore they probably will win 8 to 9 games. So I should put NC State in this conversation.
That is the Law of the Wolf, a fine podcast that you can download wherever you get your podcasts. No, the trendsetter I want to start with you, and this is something you're going to be writing come April. Why aren't we talking about Drake May as the #1 overall pick in the draft?
I think we will be by then.
I know we will be.
Because, look, I mean, it is fun to watch Caleb Williams play.
Absolutely.
He is a really good football player. But, like, the measurables, and I'm not a buyer that you have to have all the measurables at the next level. I think that you can go down a list of guys from Russell Wilson to Drew Brees, whatever, who have proven you don't need to have those things. But it sure as hell helps if you have those things, and Drake May's got them. And he's going to have numbers that I think warrant being in that same consideration with Caleb Williams. And again, like, it's not, look, Caleb Williams is a great athlete. You know who had more scramble yards than Caleb Williams last year? Drake May.
Drake May, yeah.
Like, he does everything really well, and he's got the measurables. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
And you know how this works. We just saw that. We just saw it in this year's draft. C.J. Stroud, the sins of other Ohio State quarterbacks were held against C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
I promise you, if Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, who I don't think we're going to see this year, other than Jalen Hurts, and I get it was a year and you got a Russell Wilson thing, so I think you claim Jalen Hurts as an Oklahoma guy too, if you're consistent. It just feels like we are going to start asking questions. Is it Lincoln Riley or is it the quarterbacks? Well, so I could see that being held against him, believe it or not.
I'm going to give you a plug here. I have a story that is out today, currently right now on the ESPN.coms, what all the kids are reading these days, about...
Not the magazine, not ESPN the magazine.
In a doctor's office somewhere.
ESPN the phone. They were ahead. It was ahead of its time.
It was.
Absolutely.
You know what it was.
I have a story out today on QB development and what that means in modern college football, where you're not getting snaps, you go in the portal. You struggle early, your coach is in the portal to get somebody else to replace you. Are we developing guys anymore? And, one of the things that a number of coaches, including Lincoln Riley, said to me is like, your window for getting guys ready to play is so much smaller that you have to simplify things to make it possible. I talked to Lane Kiffin specifically about Jalen Hurts in that first year at Alabama. Like, Kiffin's like, we shrunk the Alabama playbook, which was insane, down to something that he could manage on the field. And slowly it gets bigger and bigger for him over the years. But it was, this guy's our best quarterback, our best player to put on the field, but he is incapable of running this whole playbook right now, so we have to do this for him. And I think there's a lot of that happening. And so you get to the next level, and the same pressure is there for these guys to play immediately at the next level.
Right.
But there is not the same, we can dumb down a playbook, because NFL defenses don't respond as well to a dumbed down playbook. They will beat the hell out of you.
Sometimes you get a transfer portal quarterback acquisition and you get a coach portal acquisition, and they happen to have worked together at a previous stop. In the case of NC State, you've got Robert Anae and Brennan Armstrong. I mean, we're focused on...
Same thing at Louisville, by the way, where Jack Plummer is playing for Jeff Brom again.
Totally forgot about that. It's funny, Louisville's the point of obsession for all you degenerate gamblers out there, because everybody's like, look at their schedule.
They popped their number already.
I had Louisville over 6.5 regular season last year. They got to 7 for me. Watched them look like crap against Kentucky at the end of the year, and I said, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
I don't know. Looking at the schedule and obsessing over you're like, well, this is what you're expected, but nothing ever happens to expectate.
Remember how Duke was going to be an easy win for everybody last year?
Yeah, how that
I just think the schedule strength this time of year is just a really foolish thing. Like, yeah, it's good that you don't get Florida State and Clemson. I will agree that probably is a benefit. Doesn't mean you're winning the 2 games that you get instead of them.
Yeah.
Just means you're not losing those games.
Although I will say I learned that Commissioner Jim Phillips is extremely online, because he referenced a way too early top 25 in his commissioner's form
he
yesterday.
didn't point to you for that, which disappointed me.
I feel like he wants to maintain a certain level of dissonance with me.
That's fair.
We don't. He's got enough problems right now. Is what I'm getting at.
We're scheduled to talk to the commissioner at some point before the start of the season. He's running all over the place. I know you and Andrea had talked to him yesterday. Did you find him any different from the commissioner's form, or was he still kind of like on the thing?
He was a little different. I mean,
because that's a completely different setting.
Yes, and I don't. Frankly, I don't think it's the best setting for him.
I agree.
He is a very thoughtful and convincing person. Like, he can sell you something, but he didn't do it. I don't think he does a good job at the podium.
Yes, he's reading from a script, those kind of things. Because to your point, yes, when you talk to Jim Phillips one-on-one or a group setting here at Kickoff, he's totally on. But for some reason, I don't know, stage fright, presentation, I don't know what it is. It doesn't come across that way. It's a completely different thing. You know, maybe.
Well, how many times has he ever had to do it before this?
Not many times.
I'm saying, like, as an AD, as Northwestern's AD, it's not like you have like a deep media core covering Northwestern.
But then again, this is not his first rodeo. It's
the
like
student paper's pretty good.
It's like when I get about Dave Doran, right? It's like
Sure.
It's like Dave, I know you've got a personality, and I know
or more personality than you
when
show.
a microphone is not in front of you, you're a different person.
You know who is the absolute ultimate example of that for me was Justin Fuente. People hated him at Virginia Tech because he could not connect with anyone.
You're looking at Justin Fuente, hater number one over here.
You got to sit down and have a beer with Justin Fuente, and he's the nicest, most genuine guy in the world.
There's a whole line of 70 players who transferred in 3 years. I'm not even near the top of that list.
Jim comes into an event like this, and I'll be interested in what your guys' take on his speech was yesterday.
Yeah.
With, I think, a very specific agenda, but not a well-crafted pitch of that. So, like, you listen to that speech, and I came away with two big things. He's talking about harmony and togetherness within the league, which was he was desperate to sell after the train wreck that was spring meetings. And he's talking about narrative and how the things that everybody's talking about with the ACC are not necessarily reflective of reality in the ACC. And I don't know that I agree with either of those things that he's saying, but I understand why he's saying it. But I think it's so funny to me that I talked to him about this. So you've got these three leagues, the ACC, the Pac-12, and the Big 12, that are the outsiders among the Power Five that aren't making the money. And you look at narratives and togetherness. Pac-12 is at death's door, and they're talking about teams bolting, and they can't get a TV deal. Everything's awful. You talk about the ACC, and it's, you know, Brett McMurphy's Magnificent Seven, and it's everybody.
Talk about branding.
Florida State and Clemson are just biding their time, counting down the marking off days on the calendar until they can leave. And then you talk about the Big 12, and it's like, hey, we're the hip young league. We're going out, we're riding some new teams. UConn, you're get a team. SMU, you come on and join us. You know, it's all happening, and it's like somehow like the Big 12 is in markedly worse place than the ACC, and yet the quote unquote vibes are completely different.
The Big 12 lost their Clemson and Florida State.
Yes, and yet it seems like
it's all vibes.
Yeah, it's all vibes.
It's all vibes.
And so I think there is. Again, did his speech get that across? I don't know, but I think if that's what he's trying to explain, it's true.
I'll say this about his speech yesterday: it was better than last year's.
Well, yes.
Last year's was completely out of touch with the world, and I thought he was better
with the gated community
stuff. Just the whole thing, right? And I'll also say this for Jim. Last year you have the Texas and Oklahoma stuff. This year you have the Northwestern stuff. Like, the guy can't get himself into a situation where it's just like, give me a
literally been on the
point.
job for like 2 months, and the Oklahoma Texas thing happened.
Was that 2 years ago? Yeah.
USC and UCLA was last year.
You're right.
And
now it's like,
I had a theory, because they moved this event back a week from when it usually is. I had a theory that it was because realignment news had broken at this event each of the last 2 years, and then of course the Northwestern stuff happens, and you can't win.
So that's tough. Like, I do think that is tough for him. Now that's what the money's for. Like, you're making a bunch of money, and you're supposed to be leading this group, and you were trusted to lead this group. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see which direction the league goes.
And again, I think, look, he's put into an impossible situation. You're asking him to play poker with no cards, right?
Or no chips.
Yeah, yeah, and
or fewer chips.
It is hard for me to put the blame for any of the problems the ACC has on Jim Phillips. You can argue too, should he have fixed more? And I will say, so I asked him specifically about the narrative stuff yesterday when Andrea and I talked to him. And, you know, his answer was largely like, Brett Yormark is out doing the will of his presidents. He is selling the branding that their presidents want sold.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same for the ACC. And I think what the power brokers in this league that are not the commissioner want a more tamped down, less overt sales pitch, and so he is doing what he's supposed to be doing
I'm
by the
glad
people
you
who
made that
pay
point.
his
Yep.
salary.
I'm glad you made that point because people want to bang on a commissioner. The commissioner works for the presidents, just like Roger Goodell works for the owners of the NFL. Sometimes you're the meat shield. You're the you're the front and center person. Is meat shield the name of a garbage pail
It
kid?
should be 100%
Commissioner
either that
Meat
or
Shields?
like it should.
with
I would-
Goodell.
I would totally listen to like a goth rock band named Meat Shield. Also,
I knew them before I saw them at Cat's Cradle before they went major label. Which, by the way, that's the Big 12. You want to know the vibe of the Big 12? They are like that indie band that you just don't know, man. You just don't know. If you ever saw them live, man, you'd be sold. David Hale, ESPN. We appreciate it, man.
yep.
What's up next? What's up next?
Joining us at ACC Kickoff, Boston College head football coach Jeff Hadley. He sat down, he saw the 87 Topps card set, and you were like, what? Are these really from 87? Yep, they're from 87, man.
That's unbelievable. I mean, these are when I was collecting 1987, so I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
This is when I was collecting. I probably have every card in the set still.
There was
And they-
definitely
and
a
they have-
pharmacy in Montvale somewhere where
There's
you
no
went
doubt.
and got the packs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether it's Topps or Donruss or Fleer, I mean, that was give me the gum in them and let's go.
I feel like
So you-
ShopRite sold the Fleer.
ShopRite definitely sold the Fleer.
So you went for you were a gum guy.
Yeah, definitely was a gum guy.
You're going to do this?
You gonna do
Yeah,
this?
can
Now,
I
this
open a
is-
pack?
This is an
Yeah.
original 87 pack, so that gum's been sitting in there
How
since
much-
1987.
I don't believe that. Well, let's see what it looks like. I hope I'm going to get a Bonds, a Nolan Ryan, a Ricky Henderson.
We haven't gotten a Bo Jackson or a Barry Bonds yet.
This card is ruined because of the gum stain. Let me just try a piece of it.
If
Oh
it
my
doesn't-
God, look at this.
It
You can
doesn't
barely get
break
it off.
on you.
It's hard. Has anybody else tried one of these?
I did the
Just-
other day.
None of the other coaches have?
No, none of them have touched it. Elko opened it up, and he just saw the gum. He's like,
It tastes
no, thanks.
exactly the same as it did in 1987.
It does?
It's actually, that flavor brings back so many. Have you guys tried one?
Yeah.
The flavor brings back so many memories.
Yes.
You know when you get that flavor, like I just had flashbacks to being a kid again?
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
I mean, I think it's awesome. I
So,
eat the rest of it.
Let's see. What do we got in here? If you're watching on YouTube, yes, Coach Hadley just put the rest of it in.
Anybody who grew up during that time, as soon as you taste it, it is just, now it melts in your mouth now, so there's nothing to chew on.
Yeah.
And I hope if anything happens to me tonight, at least you can tell the doctors
We know
why.
why.
I probably should have had you sign the waiver. Yeah.
We know
There's
why.
no waiver, so then we're coming
But
after
you're from New Jersey,
I'm
so
from New Jersey,
it's
so I don't
fine.
do anything.
We're good.
Yeah, when we get a press release that Jeff Hadley's unavailable for his press availability this week, we know why.
It is actually really good, except it doesn't turn into gum.
That's
All
the-
right,
that's the
let's
only
see.
issue.
Who we got here? Marty Barrett, Red Sox. I mean, come on. Bob Kipper. Nope. Let's get like Earl Weaver, manager, the manager card.
The manager cards.
Earl Weaver,
They've
that's a
been
big one
sneaky.
right there.
We pulled a Lasorda, and I'm like, has Lasorda always looked this ancient?
People disrespect the manager cards. Now that I'm a coach, I'm only going for the manager cards. So I'm going to keep that one. And Eddie Murray.
There you go.
That's a big one,
That's-
guys.
that's a big one.
You grew up a Yankee fan. Come on.
I
Or
coach,
Mets.
I coach at Boston College. I am not going to talk about the Yankees at all. Dave Magadan, Future Stars. That is a big one. Huge one.
He was clearly a future
When
star.
you-
Hey, that's
Taking it for stardom.
That's a Florida Marlin legend. Put some
I
respect on Dave
cannot
Magadan.
believe I didn't get a Nolan Ryan or a Barry Bonds, but I got great gum.
You got a great enthusiasm.
My
Take
chest
one
is
more.
starting to hurt.
Take one more.
Take one more?
Yeah.
My
Don't-
chest
don't
is
do the
starting
gum,
to hurt
though.
from that.
Don't eat the gum, because
from
unless
that
you have
gum.
another thing full of water, then we don't.
I
need
just
to
wish
have it.
I could actually chew it. These are really from 1987?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we got a guy at Oak City Sports Cards in downtown Raleigh, because the card trading game is wild. Because I've found out the hard way that cards that I thought were valuable when I was a kid
Yeah.
have no value. So like
Really?
Joe roasts me all the time. I'm like, yeah. So that Ken Griffey Jr. upper deck card from what, 89?
What's it, like $7?
If that.
It's like 30.
Yeah.
If that, right?
Roger Clemens rookie card? That's got to be.
None.
Somebody is
Zero.
that not worth
No,
anything?
no way. I paid like $50 for that when I was
Zero.
Like my prized possession was the Mark McGuire USA baseball
Oh,
card.
yeah. I got a bunch of those.
Right?
With the bat right on his
Yeah,
shoulder.
and I thought that was
It's
going
all,
to be.
I mean, it's all relative. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but
40,
this
50
was,
bucks.
My
but not.
dad told me that's how I
Roger
was going to pay for
Clemens.
college.
Did you get it?
Record breaker.
Oh,
1986. This one might be worth like $10.
No.
Yeah, seriously.
It's not.
Let's hold it. Let's get it graded, Joe.
This is let's get this
thing
one.
graded.
That's a big one. Another manager card.
Dick
I
Williams.
love Dick
There's not
Williams.
enough manager cards or people named Dick anymore.
Let's see what else I got. Kevin Bass. Kevin Bass had a nice career for the Astros. Rafael Ramirez was a good player for the Braves. Andre, awesome.
The Hawk.
Dawson. Are you kidding me?
With the classic uni.
Do you remember playing like Nintendo baseball? This guy would hit a home run every single time.
You're talking RBI?
RBI baseball.
Yeah.
Every time.
RBI baseball, this guy would hit bombs. Oh, that Andre Dawson fires me up.
You played the baseball games, right? Because we talked to Elko. He was a baseball stars guy. For
Baseball
the Nintendo.
stars was fine, but there was no real players. So you played RBI, and you used the Cardinals and got Vince Coleman and Ozzie Smith, and you could steal bases all day.
They were all white guys in RBI baseball, but they had the player names.
But they had the player names.
Because they couldn't do the pixels. But yeah, they had the player names, so you knew who it was.
Yeah, so I got a Roger Clemens. So I'm going out here a richer guy today.
Okay. And the gum didn't kill you.
No, but I'm starting to get a little bit of pain in my chest.
You want to talk a little BC football?
Let's talk BC football.
Reset.
Am I recovered yet? Pass interference on the goal line. Was it really pass interference?
Which game you talking about?
Oh, jeez.
Come on.
Are
The NC
we
State game?
Yeah.
Are we still on that?
Interference.
Was that PI?
Did a flag get thrown?
A flag did get thrown.
So how could I not answer the question and disagree with the refs? I'd get in trouble for that. Right?
What'd you think?
I think the ref made a great call.
Great call.
Yeah. If you really watch it in slow motion, it's just like the ref saw it. He got there a little bit too soon. I thought it was a great break on the ball, but he got there too soon. And that's by letter of the law, it's pass interference. Could have went either way, but I think the ref made a good call. What'd you think?
I did not agree with that situation. I did not agree with that call.
Why?
Well, to your point, like if you watch it in slow motion,
He got
right?
there too soon.
Well,
He did. In slow motion, he got there too soon.
in slow mo. Yeah. Like you watch it in real time. Then the guy took a minute or two to throw that flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they always take a minute or two to throw the
They
flag.
do now. You're right. That is kind of a standard practice. to
Yeah,
do.
because
So,
I get mad at that too. But I
Yeah.
I thought it was the right call at the right time,
Yeah.
and it gave us another down.
I was gonna say, well, you had a tough year, but that obviously was the highlight of the year for you guys.
Yeah,
in part because of the way Emmett played, and in part because it gives you something for this year to build on too.
I think that game was big for a lot of reasons. You get a team that we go into the season with Christian Mahogany's already knocked out, right? So you look at your offensive line,
yeah.
Right. You get one of the best guards in all football. He's knocked out. You have 4 total starts for your O-line. Your whole line room has 4. Then your right tackle tears his ACL, your center tears his meniscus and breaks his hand, and your left guard tears his labrum. So you go from 4 starts to, oh my gosh, who's playing? And we have to start. So that's the type of year it is. But here's what happens. Your guys never quit, and they go through a lot of really hard things, and they keep playing hard, led by Zay Flowers, who's a first-round pick, who didn't opt out, didn't stop playing. You get to NC State, and you're down 14 within the first 2 minutes of the game. And most teams in that situation, you would have gotten beat by 60.
Yeah.
But instead, with a freshman quarterback thrown to a freshman wideout at the end of the year, you win the game, which says so much about these young kids who at the time, 37 of the 44 in the 2 deep were first or second year players, playing an NC State team that hadn't lost at home in 16 straight games with a senior day that had more seniors than we did players.
Yes. Yeah.
So for our young kids to do that says a lot. So, could that call have went either way? But I think for that moment, if you watch it, it was the right call, and it is what it is at this point.
What have you seen this offseason from Emmett? Obviously a big difference in terms of when you know you're the guy. And also, I'm sure he's grasping a lot more of what you want him to do.
Yeah,
even though you lose Zay, and let's not downplay what Zay was. I mean,
no, Zay was. I mean, you got your O-line back. And you got
that's huge.
Which at BC, your O-line needs to be good and will be good, and we need to run the ball. Emmett played last year 4 games and took over the job with very minimal reps, and I think that's really hard to do. And he threw for 325 and 3 touchdowns in 2 out of the 4 games, which only 2 freshmen did that all last year in college football. And I think he can kind of take a deep breath now and go back and study and learn and really grasp what he's going to do. And he needs to go out and have a great training camp, So I'm excited about where he's at. I think we added a transfer from Central Florida and Thomas Castellanos, who is electrifying, and I think that's going to be a good push for Emmett. And I'm excited to see what this QB room can do and what this team can do on offense.
You going to miss the divisions? You going to miss state? They're not going to miss you.
I am. You don't think
I'll miss you? I miss you.
I really appreciate you missing me.
You know that.
The divisions. My first year in this thing, there was no division. We played every team in the ACC, and we won 5 games, and people thought we were going to be last, right?
Yeah.
So I played in the division for 2 years. I like the fact that we're playing different teams. I guess I didn't know the ACC well enough in my time in the NFL to realize that BC hasn't played certain teams in like 5-6 years, which I think is crazy.
Bonkers.
Like, Miami should come to us.
Yes.
We should go to Miami.
You should have a history
we
of
should
Miami.
play Pitt every year.
Agreed.
It's we're the only ones not in this corridor with Pitt, and we're not playing them every year. Right. So I think it's. Look, I guess all the guys on the Coastal will tell you that they're mad about it. All the guys in the Old Atlantic will tell you that they're happy about it. I think at the end of the day, in any conference, the teams with the 2 best records should play for the championship. Yeah. So great. If you're one of the 2 best teams with the best record, go to the championship and see who wins.
Instead of going to overtime, you see which coach can eat the most Tops bubblegum.
Yeah, I mean, if you really ate that and you can't tell me it was bad, it just disintegrated.
It just disintegrated. That's all it was. You're right. You know what? I will concede that the flavor still held up, and I was surprised by
It is
that.
unbelievable.
It's pretty good.
So,
but go
credit to
hydrate. Go hydrate.
Yeah.
Just before you go, I thought of the true BC legend got off the train at the Trade Center 2 weeks ago.
Who's that?
Wells Crowther, the red bandana, man. Come on. Saved all those lives. Unbelievable. It's still my favorite story, still my favorite tradition. Love that game every year. I don't know if you've designated it already, but
we have, and I went down and saw the memorial. It's the first time, and when you see that and how big it is breathtaking. And when every time you bring up the red bandana and you talk about Wells, I always say it. It's what's right in the world, and we need more people like that. That's the Florida State game, week 3.
Oh, cool.
So that should be another special day, and you put those uniforms on, or you put a bandana on. It's a cool moment. That is. I'm glad you brought that up.
Coach, appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks for the gum.
Move on.
Joining us at ACC Kickoff on the Heaster Automotive Group Hotline is the CEO of the Peach-Bowl. He is Gary Stokan. I feel like our visits with Gary at ACC Kickoff, I used to enjoy them, Gary, because I used to do the show I used to do the show with Gold.
I remember that.
And you know, you and Gold have a pretty cordial relationship. But I've noticed a difference when Giglio joined me as my co-host, that the tenor has taken it's a little bit different, Joe. And I've never understood why.
Why is that?
I like Gary.
And Gary likes you, but you guys have like this kind of constant shit giving that I've noticed over time.
That's what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. All right.
Played for Storm and Norman.
I know.
He's got his cred.
No, Gary's got stories, man. Gary's got stories, which I do want to get to, but let's talk about some changes. Changes with the kickoff, Chick-fil-A with the Peach Bowl, but you're doing something different with the kickoff this year, which features an ACC opener between Louisville and Georgia Tech. So how did that come about?
Yeah, it's really interesting. We started a new tradition to kick off the college football season in New York with ringing the bell to the New York Stock Exchange. And so we were up there with Coach Dooley, who has since passed away, Dan Cathy of Chick-fil-A, President of Georgia, and ICE, which owns the New York Stock Exchange, is based in Atlanta. They invited some CEOs up of Fortune 500 companies, of which Aflac was one. And as Michael Jordan has said, you only miss the shots you don't take.
Right.
So I met Virgil Miller, who's the president of Aflac US, after the event, and I said, hey, you would be a great partner for our kickoff game. Chick-fil-A is stepping away. They're going to continue as title sponsor of the bowl, Peach Bowl. They're going to continue title sponsor of the College Football Hall of Fame, but they want to spend some marketing dollars somewhere else. So you're based in Georgia. You're heavily involved in college football. Our kickoff games start in September, which is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. You've given $168 million to start the Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. We've given $20 million to the Aflac Cancer Center to start trials to eradicate childhood cancer. We now have 12 trials with 37 kids in them, everything from neuroblastoma to leukemia. And so I said, you'd be a perfect partner with all the community of interest we have. We're the #1 bowl organization in the country in charitable distributions. We've given $61 million away since 2002. So we have, through this kickoff game, we can raise a lot of money for children's health care and Aflac Cancer Center. Find a cure and let's eradicate childhood cancer. So that's the goal. It's kickoff for a cause. This year we have the opener of the ACC with Georgia Tech Louisville, primetime Friday night, September 1st. Next year we have Georgia Clemson, which will
Beat 2 top 10 teams. And then in 25, Virginia Tech, South Carolina, as well as Tennessee and Syracuse. So 2 games in 25. So that's the impetus. It's kind of the cool story of my 45 years in sports business that I just met a guy, pitched him. He took the handoff, ran the ball, got with Garth Knutson, their CMO, and in 2 weeks we had a deal.
Awesome. That is very sports business. It's connections, it's networking, being at the right place at the right time.
Multi-million-dollar deal, and in these day and times, it's hard to get deals like that done.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, a couple reasons. One is you have to have somebody that's spending a lot of money on ESPN because you're putting their name on the field. And so Aflac spends a lot of money on ESPN. Secondarily, they had an interest in what we're trying to do with childhood cancer, which not many people have that as well. So, and as anybody will tell you in sports marketing, to get a multi-million-dollar deal done long-term in 2 weeks is close to impossible.
So for those who, I feel like this is a good way to transition to a Michael Jordan story, because audiences might not realize this. I mean, you've been in sports business, NC State legend that you are. That
pick splinters out of my butt. Started one game, got my education paid for.
Hey. NC State legend in my book. But over 40 years in this business.
Your book's not very big.
Nah, I don't read a lot. It's funny, you have a fascinating career with lots of connections to a lot of things that people talk about, including a movie about a shoe deal with Michael Jordan called Air. For those who might not be familiar, what is your connection to that, the lead up to Jordan and Nike and the shoe?
After I got out of NC State, I coached with Norm Sloan, who was my coach for 3 years. Got out of coaching in 1980 and moved to Atlanta to open up Adidas Southeast office. I had Michael Jordan wearing Adidas all throughout. He and Buzz Peterson were roommates. They loved Adidas. I had them wearing Adidas at practice and all over campus. They couldn't wear them in the game because Dean Smith was under contract with Converse. He was getting $250,000 a year and wouldn't let Michael and Buzz wear Adidas in the game, rightfully so. So in 1983-84, as he goes to Bloomington to practice for the Olympic team in 84 with Bobby Knight being the head coach, who, another story, I had Bobby Knight in Adidas, and I had put the red sweater on Bobby Knight. Another story I could tell you about he and Al McGuire. But I gave Michael the first $100 pair of leather basketball shoes in the U.S. market. It was manufactured by anybody. I have pictures of Michael wearing Adidas up in Bloomington, trying out for the Olympic team. I knew that Michael was going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
After, in the book Shoe Dogs, which is Phil Knight's book, Michael didn't want to go to Beaverton to meet with Nike. Unlike the movie, David Falk had to work on Mrs. Jordan to get Michael to go to Beaverton, which he succeeded in getting her to do. Sonny Vaccaro never went to the Jordan house that's in the movie.
Yeah.
Michael and his mom and dad never went to Nuremberg, Germany to meet with Adidas. Number one, because we were based in Herzegovina. Number two, they never went to Germany anyway. Number three, Michael, in the book, Shoe Dogs, Phil Knight's book, Nike's bordering on bankruptcy. They're in the red. In 83, they were an unknown commodity. Michael comes out of the meeting. Michael's dad says, we're signing with Nike. David Falk says, we're signing with Nike. It's in the book. Michael's quoted in the book, no, I want to sign with Adidas. I'm 29 at the time. Michael comes back from Beaverton, calls me and says, Mr. Stokan, called me Mr. Stokan.
Oh.
Mr. Stokan, can you meet with me? I met with him on Franklin Street in Chapel Hill on the stone wall across from Four Corners Restaurant. We're drinking a Coca-Cola sitting on the wall. He said, Mr. Stokan, I love you. You've been great to me and my family. I love your product. If you can just get close on the car, the shoe deal, the clothing deal, I'll sign with Adidas. If you can just get close. You don't need to beat them, just get close. So I have them ready to sign. I sent a 3-page marketing campaign over to Herzogenaurach, West Germany. The wall was still up to the Europeans. because at the time Adidas was just distributor based, which in other words, it was just sales companies. 4 different sales companies that just sold Adidas. There wasn't Adidas America headquarters or anything. It was all based in Europe. The Europeans came back and said, we don't have that kind of money to put in the U.S. market. It was $2.5 million. Michael signs with Nike and puts Nike from the red to the black because he sold $126 million of Air Jordan product his first rookie year at Chicago Bulls. Fast forward, I take my family to the Bahamas, and we're walking through the Atlantis casino to go to dinner. My daughters are about 8 and 10, and my daughter looks over and says, there was a cigar shop and all kind of shops over on the left side of the casino. She said, there's Michael Jordan.
At a cigar shop? No.
So I walk over, and there's Michael Jordan standing there with a cigar with Charles Barkley, and Ahmad Rashad with him.
Yeah, that's a
Michael
crew.
Was
that's his crew.
That's his crew. He was doing his golf tournament down in Bahamas, which he did every year.
Mm-hmm.
And so he sees me, and he calls me over, G, come here. Puts me in a headlock. And he looks at my daughter, and he says, your dad is the hardest working man in sports. My daughters never forgot that. And he went on to tell those Barkley, Oakley, and Rashad the story I just told you guys. Yeah. But he said, and Gary didn't think I could play, and that's why Adidas didn't sign me.
Oh,
so he stuck a dagger right in my heart.
Come on.
He knew exactly where he went to school, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Never forget.
Meanwhile, he idolized David Thompson.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like stories like that are important because Jordan's got his own myth that he has clearly been interested in keeping going. But, you know, there's nuance to the story that gets lost.
I went from Adidas to Converse and was national basketball director of Converse in 1987. So Larry Bird, you know, how everybody ran their summer league basketball charity game. So we were doing Larry Bird's in Indianapolis. And Magic and Bird and Jordan are all playing. Well, we're the sponsors, so I'm sitting at midcourt in Indianapolis. And they're shooting a free throw down at one end, and Jordan's down the other end at the top of the key with his hands on his pants, how he hold his pants down. And he sees me at midcourt, and he walks over to me and stands on the court, looks at his shoes, looks at me, looks at his shoes again, looks at me and says, big smile, Gary, just think what might have been.
Oh, jeez.
Like only
and I'm
Jordan.
Sure you loved that. Jordan
loves the knife. He loves to stick the knife in you.
Gary, we appreciate the time as always. We got the Peach Bowl, we got the Kickoff. It's great that the relationship with the ACC continues. A little bit different look with Aflac. Important cause there. A lot of awareness. So thanks for the time as always, and best of luck this football season.
Great to see you, and I can't believe I made it through an interview without Joe ripping me or coming up with some derogatory comment that might cause me to have a little...
There's still time. There's still time. There's still time.
I love a good Jordan story.
But thank you, guys.
I love it when we check up on the checker-upper, too. Sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, there's the myth-making, you know, we got...
Oh, it's like the Last Dance documentary. It drove us nuts. Mind you, we had nothing else to talk about in the pandemic while we were doing sports talk radio. But, you know, the way the Jordan documentary made the
Never
title
lost
game.
In the playoffs.
Well, no, the UNC title game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was the game-winning shot.
It was over.
Well, there's actually a much more iconic moment that happened after that.
Yeah.
But not according to Last Dance. No, that shot did it.
Well,
never mind a way to worthy. But that was the shot.
How about the movie where Sonny says, well, I knew right then that Michael was our guy. Come on.
Maybe not.
Oh, man.
Maybe not.
We got that eye roll. We got that eye roll from Gary. Hey, man, we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Great to see you guys.
Gary's got to write a book, man. Gary should write a book. Don't you think?
You know how we've often tried to find the beginnings of NC State shit?
Do you think Gary's part of it?
And some people say it's the travel, Chris Corciani. Some people say it's how they ran Valvano out.
Yeah. You think it's that?
Tell me an NC State grad, a former NC State basketball player, working for Adidas, having Michael Jordan on the cusp of a Jordan shoe for Adidas, then being told, nah,
I'm good.
Adidas doesn't have the money.
Yeah.
After Jordan says,
yeah,
you're the one I want to go with.
Yeah,
Tell me that's not the pinnacle of NC State shit.
That might.
Let's hope it's the pinnacle.
That might be it. That might be.
I didn't have the heart to say that to Gary because Gary's gone on to have an unbelievably successful career.
An incredible career, man. And he puts up with our crap. All right, let's get to some Hey Joe questions before we say goodbye. Oakwood Pizza Box. Check them out online at oakwoodpizzabox.com. If you got any sort of Hey Joe questions, use that hashtag on, I don't know, Twitter or whatever it's called now. We'll get to some Hey Joe questions later on in the next couple of weeks from some YouTube comments. I'm looking at the YouTube comments.
I love it.
I'm a sicko.
I told you we were trained all those years not to look at the comments, but now that it's our show, we got to do that.
We absolutely are. All right, from Bull in the City, where did you all get beverages while in Charlotte for ACC Media Days? Did you go to dives, breweries? No. If it's free, it's me. So we went to the hospitality 2 nights in a row at the Kimpton at the rooftop.
That was crazy fancy. I will say, though, that I ended up at the local because I've been thinking of the name of that place forever because it was the New York Tavern during the original run of ACC basketball tournaments down there, like in 08 and 09.
Yeah.
And now it's called The Local.
Okay.
That's where I was on New Year's Eve with Jessica, or Christmas Eve.
Nice.
Jessica and the boys, the year we went to see the Panthers and the Bucks. Nothing was open.
I remember that.
And that was the only place that was open. They have great wings. They have great tater tots. But that's the only other place I went to pay for an actual drink.
Yeah. On my dad's birthday, we went to a really nice restaurant called Custom Shop. Basically, long family history. Like my cousin's cousin is married to the owner chef. Ran into Ron Green Jr. of all people while I was there.
Nice.
And I wanted to take my dad to the Thirsty Beaver after that. But at that point, he was done. He had too much wine.
70. Yeah, man.
Well, look, my dad actually shares the same birthday with Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger is 10 years older than him. So I told him, I'm like,
gotta go to the Beaver.
If you want to be like Mick Jagger, we go to the Beaver and nobody knows who you are. You'll fit right in. Right?
You've never been more like Mick Jagger in your life.
In your life. You showed up to get a beer at this place and people don't care. That would have been the ultimate thing. But unfortunately, we never made it. All right. From Seth Jarvis Stan, with Aho's contract, now is the time to say goodbye to less than $10 beers at PNC Arena, right? I mean, that was going in that direction regardless. The beers are not, that's not what's paying Aho's salary.
I'm like, wait, what?
The beer is not paying Aho's salary.
You also know that was a team-friendly deal, right?
It actually was. Yes. It was a team-friendly deal.
Like if he gets to the market next year.
Oh, it would have been insane.
Right.
Like
we're talking 12.
Yes. Yes.
So
they got term. That's what they were looking for.
Right. But
they
also,
got his 8 years.
Yes, they pay more for him now this year and next year.
Yes.
But come on, guys.
But let me again,
this was a good deal. This was not
PSA. Beer is not what pays for the contract.
No.
TV is what pays for the contract.
The problem that he would like to solve is the Bally.
That's the crucial thing for the future of the Carolina Hurricanes.
Maybe they'll be on the CW
and all other NHL.
I wish I had some FU money to throw at them and like just for us just to start broadcasting those games.
Oh, I've reached out to him. I just keep tweeting at him like, "Hey, we got a channel. We can do this. We can. I mean, I'll flip on StreamYard. I just need a guy in the stadium.
ACC network style. the one standing cam.
I'll get shout out to Brian Floyd, right? You know, hold on a second. Let me stop sharing this thing.
But given the number of youths that watch stuff on bootlegged on Snapchat and everything else,
right? We do it.
Probably not a terrible idea.
Shout out to Brian Floyd, who's like a Washington State guy. He had done a Photoshop of the Pac-12 statement from the Pac-12 conference. I'm trying, Jennifer. That's the Pac-12 right now. But yeah, man, by all means, if you want to do that, please reach out to me. All right, from Andrew on Twitter. Hey Joe, longtime listener, longtime loser. I'm one Android user, and I'm one of those outlaws that doesn't use Twitter, but here he is on Twitter. I have an Android and I use Pandora of all the apps. How do I give you 5 stars and positive vibes while being an outlaw? You just keep listening.
I think
that's how you do it too. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And you tweeted at us. That's how you do it though. Ultimately, just keep listening, man. That's all we can ask. And we'll close out on this from Chris. Joe, what's Giglio doing? And congrats on making the Big 17. Shout out to the Cram Jam. Yeah, and here's Joe, if you're watching on YouTube, applying his Icy Hot. If you watch us on YouTube, you see Joe applying Icy Hot all the time. So, Joe, if you're not in the right chair, you're on the struggle bus, dude.
Especially on an all-day event like that.
So your neck was all jacked up, and you're just applying Icy Hot to the point where, you're burn your skin off, dude.
Yeah, I regularly do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's. It's been a hell of a week. Thanks for everybody for listening. We'll see y'all next week.